All right. Weechy hope. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back, or good morning, wherever you are. Welcome back to the Jenna Julien Podcast.
Welcome to the Jenna and Julien Podcast.
These beautiful drinks that Jenna almost spilled all over all of our equipment. Just kidding. Were made by Jenna. What is it? Sangria?
It's sangria. I've never ever had sangria a day in my life. I think I tried Jackie's, like in college. My best friend, she was like, "Well, let's get sangria." And
That is good.
Yeah, I was like, that looks nasty, dude, because it was made out of red wine, like cheap red wine with like weird fruit in it. And I was like,
well, sangria can be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really drank it, but when I was working as a bartender, we had this bin that we kept in like the fridge for the weekend of sangria, and sometimes it was really bunk and it tasted nasty, but people like it. No, this is obviously incredibly good though.
Yeah, no, I had just tasted like I think really awful sangria one time when I was like 21.
Yep,
and
that's
I was
out
like,
there.
I'm never drinking that again. And then I don't know what, like it's fucking the middle of December. Never had sangria a day in my life.
Yeah.
And I just got it in my head that we had a bunch of bottles of Pinot and
As props from your video.
and frozen fruit in the freezer. And I was like, wait, I wonder how you make, what's it called? Sangria. And I looked it up online and they all called for like soda and like other shit. But I just put a bottle of Pinot, like dumped some frozen fruit in there all over ice. And then I put some like orange liqueur and some raspberry liqueur in there and it got bomb.
Let me tell you.
And you need a little bit of sugar or else it just tastes like jungle juice, like you're about to go to Blackout Town.
It's very good. I think I might go to Blackout Town just because I'm like thirsty and it tastes so good.
Right? It tastes like a fucking delicious fruit Gatorade or something.
It tastes beautiful.
It's so refreshing.
It tastes beautiful.
I don't know what happened. That's like how I remembered your name. I met Julien like months and months before this happened. And then one day I woke up in a dream and I was like, oh my God, I remember that kid's name. It's Julien, because I couldn't remember your name.
Yeah.
And then it came to me in a dream.
I love that story. This is an absolutely perfect drink for right now. It's very nice. Thank you for making it.
Oh, you're so very welcome. I really made it for me, but
You made enough for both. Is there more left?
yeah, I made a whole jug of it. You can't just make like a glass of sangria.
It's gonna be a good night.
You have to make like a jug. You have to commit. That's why because for the video on Wednesday, I needed 9 bottles of Pinot.
Yes, you did.
And we went to the store. I had like 2, so we had to buy like 7. But it was still looked like a ridiculous amount of wine when we checked out. And so I was like, you know what? If I just take one of the shitty ones and throw it into a giant jug, you have to use a whole bottle to make this.
It's awesome.
I was like, what am I really gonna lose? I have everything to gain.
Everything. And we've gained it.
That's what I feel like, like when
So this is frozen fruit. You just put it right in.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to use like real fruit so then you can eat it, and they're still pretty hard.
I like the frozen fruit though because it's almost like they're ice cubes, and also sangria can get really mushy and gross if the fruit
Yeah, did you ever used to eat Jell-O that had like pieces of fruit in it?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you'd eat one of the pieces of fruit and you're like, oh, this is fucking nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I feel like sangria would turn into. But I feel like, when you learn how to bartend, because we've both been bartenders.
Yeah.
Like, when you start experimenting on your own, like you learn a bunch of drinks.
Yeah.
And then you start like experimenting on your own. I feel like when you're using, the bar's liquor, I'll make anything. But then when you actually have to go to the liquor store and buy all these bottles of liquor to make something that you want to make, you're sort of more careful.
Exactly, because it's on your tab and it's not just there for your disposal. Sorry, Peach was chewing the pillow.
But that's what I felt like. I felt like we literally had a bar because I was like, well, I got 9 bottles of fucking Pinot over here.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys chill.
I know. Peach is causing a ruckus. Hey, Peach. Peach. Sorry.
It's okay. It's going to be okay. Julien's facing all of the trials and tribulations of being a new daddy. She's making you crazy, huh?
A little bit. It's okay, though.
It's because she's gotten to that age where she can be so naughty.
She's gotten very, very naughty. She just goes up on... She can get anywhere, which is fucking freaky.
Isn't it horrifying?
She can get anywhere. Except for the counters in the kitchen, I think she can get anywhere.
Right. That's what, when I first got Kermit, I was like, used to just having this little glorified stuffed animal, Marbles, that was just the sweetest little like angel that got in no trouble ever. And then I got Kermit, and I would come home and he'd be on the dining room table. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're 4 months old. How the fuck did you get up there?
I know, it's fucked.
They're naughty.
Yeah, they're naughty, and no matter how many times I yell at her, she seems to just go and do it again.
I know.
So.
It's like my niece. I was FaceTiming with my brother the other day, and she's sitting on the ground, and she's just like scooching and crawling, and she can sort of stand up at this point, but she's opening all the drawers in the kitchen, and my brother's just being like, oh, no, like, no, that's not fun. She like ripped everything off the Christmas tree at the bottom. She was like crawling around behind like the power cords. He's like, let's get out of there. But he said that she opens up the drawers and then takes everything out and just like decorates the house with it.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Right?
For us, it's cute. For him, it's probably like, stop.
Yeah, but babies are cute.
Yeah, they are.
Because they do things like...
She cried the first time I held her. She was like really happy, and then I get her and just boom, crying.
Oh, man. I guess there's nothing more insulting when someone hands you a baby.
And they're perfectly happy when you get them.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, and then they're like, no!
It's like a violent cry, too.
Oh, it's so awful.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, or someone's like, dog, you're like, oh, can I pet you, dog? And they're like, sure. And then you go to pet the dog and you're like, no! Don't touch me, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just here to be your friend.
I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
I'm just here to court you.
Yeah.
Oh. What did you want to talk about today, Julian?
Well, we had mentioned earlier that the Sony Hack situation is kind of a big deal right now.
It is kind of a big deal.
It's a little bit interesting. And I was saying, hey, like, would you want to talk about the Sony Hack? And you brought something up which I thought was even more interesting, which is how it's.
Well, we should get into that. We should talk about the actual Sony the hack, because I try not to get too political, but I think we can have this conversation without making it something completely political.
Yeah, I mean, all the thoughts I have on this and all the things I want to talk about are not really political at all.
Well, what are your thoughts on the entire thing?
I mean, I'm a little conflicted. I think, the idea that a whole entire movie was made and then it got pulled because of hackers' threats, because of, country disputes or whatever it is, it's confusing to someone like who's, not super informed. That's like, well, I read that it's going to cost them like $75 million. Like, did no one really put this up as a possibility of happening before all that money was thrown into this movie?
Right. Well, here's my 2 cents.
Because there was...
I don't want to cut you off, but I want to backtrack for a second.
Yep.
The premise of the movie that they're going to kill, Kim Jong-un or whatever, I think... Although it has been done before with Team America and Kim Jong-il and all of that. Although he doesn't die in that movie. He lives on. And a lot of people refer, like, North Korea to the United States is kind of a joke. Like, I've seen people call it the silliest and funniest evil dictatorship ever.
Yeah.
Like, I saw people tweet, by no means are either of us super informed, so take all of this with a grain of salt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big grain of salt.
But I saw that someone had tweeted, like, remember the time that Kim Jong-il kidnapped some South Korean movie stars because he wanted to make, like, his own movies in North Korea?
Yeah. I
read that he, like, tried to produce Kim Jong-il, like, tried to produce a movie, like, by holding people at gunpoint.
Jesus Christ.
Like, they're the silliest and funniest evil dictatorship. Remember we were talking with Mikey and Tommy about how they make some of their cars run on, like, wood.
Yeah.
They, like, converted them. Oh, my God. But so, anyways, in essence, to our culture and country, North Korea is sort of like a joke. Like, it's so evil and fucked up that it's laughable. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff that they do.
Absolutely.
Because you're just like, what the actual fuck are you guys doing? But what I think is important, especially in terms of, like, maybe sometimes what I do, or definitely what professional comedians do, is that you have to decide at the end of the day, if you're gonna cross a line, is the joke worth it? Yeah. Is it worth the fucking the squeeze? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because anybody can make jokes about rape, abortion, blatantly racist things. This, I think, would fall into that category when you're openly, like, you're not even, like, changing anybody's name, which I don't think we need to at this point. Like, that wouldn't have helped anybody's cause, because the Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-un, whatever, have been such a joke at this point to Americans that there's no fucking need to. But is making the entire movie really worth it? Is it really going to be that funny and spectacular that we need to put ourselves out there?
And I think a lot of people who are involved are now asking themselves that question, was it worth it? And honestly, to be truthful with you, when I'm getting a little sick of the Rogan Franco thing, so I wasn't interested in the movie. I saw the trailer and I was like, I could take it or leave it. I really don't
I can't
care.
say I was either. And remember when everyone just found out that this was becoming a movie? Yeah, they were getting threats and stuff then.
Yeah, before it was even really made yet.
Right. Well, I'm sure they were still in fucking production.
They were still. Yeah. I remember that though.
I mean, they could have pulled the plug then, but then also just to build off of what you just said, it's a $75 million loss or something in the millions of dollars of loss. Yeah. But I mean, movie studios take losses like that in the millions all the time. I think Disney or Pixar, whoever put out that last Johnny Depp movie where he was on a train with that face paint and shit. Oh yeah. I think they lost $200 million. Really? Yeah. So it's not like these movie places don't have fucking companies, don't have giant flops, or that they don't have to
so
eat
it's not like a company ending
and
mistake.
this was certainly not company ending at all by any means.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But that's why I'm saying that if you're gonna and back into the fucking creative censorship and all of that, obviously we should be allowed, we are allowed in our country to creatively express ourselves. Yes. Which is bad news that this all happened, because now people are like, well, what are we going to do? Fucking censor ourselves? Just because Kim Jong-un told us we can't see it, now we're not going to see it? Yeah.
Well, I feel another reason why I feel conflicted is I feel like the way that those threats came early on, and then how the movie came out and got made, and also how a little bit grotesque it was. I saw a leaked video. It was a scene where the Kim Jong-un character dies.
Right, I saw that too.
Where the bullet in the helicopter. Oh yeah, it's grotesque. It's it's slowed down. It's obviously supposed to be funny or comedic or whatever. There's a Katy Perry cover playing, but it's almost as if the people behind the movie and the real brains and the real decision makers thought, you know what? Fuck you. We're going to really make this movie, and we're going to make it we're going to make it hard, and we're going to really do exactly what you wanted us not to do, almost as a big middle finger or a big oh, you're testing me. And not only did it backfire, but like you said, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't even worth it. It's right. There was no message, there was no motive that people were trying to get this information out or any sort of cause to making this movie other than here.
Yeah, we want to.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a slippery slope because, I think we both are in the boat that maybe the joke wasn't worth it to make an offensive movie to some people. Yeah. It needs to be fucking kick-ass. Team America was unbelievably good. Uh-huh. And I think everyone that saw that movie was just in stitches laughing. Yeah, I mean, it was big. But that's their gimmick. I mean, it took people, a decade to understand that the South Park is fucking hysterical because people were too busy being so angry at everything that they did. Yeah, getting offended. Sorry. But, I mean, they did that movie, Team America, and there's fucking North Korea in there. That's sort of he's the evil plot of that movie. Yeah. But it was worth all the jokes. And most of the jokes were also making fun of how fucked up America is. This movie's premise was just let's go kill him. Right? Let's go fucking kill this dictator. There's no self-satire. There's no making fun of America. We don't know that, but that's what it seemed like. You know what I mean? That's the vibe it's giving off. It's a big fuck you to North Korea. For no reason. Nothing against James Franco and Seth Rogen, but I just don't think that something that they sort of created out of their brains really had the same depth when you think about it as Team America did. Because the thing that made Team America so beautiful was that they're making fun of how reckless fucking the United States is sometimes. Yeah, because that's funny. Right, because we need to laugh at ourselves also if we're going to laugh at other countries. And also, the motive behind that joke is hey guys,
our country's a little bit fucked. Like the way we act is a little wrong,
Right.
and we're gonna make it funny.
Right. But
It's not. Yeah.
if I were in my little brain, I'm North Korea.
Yeah.
Like I would feel offended, but I'm like also like, all right, well at least you guys know how big of assholes you are. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I
think that's why Team America didn't have any sort of this reaction, even though that was like a different time. But it was a different time, and
I imagine that this movie, because the entire premise was just go kill the dictator.
just go kill him.
It's a little bit, whatever.
It's asking for it. I mean, yeah.
People are and should be allowed to make whatever that they want to make at all ever.
My confliction.
And
yeah.
that's tricky because they pulled the fucking movie. So now everyone on the internet is like, oh, we bowed to fucking whatever. But do you remember when you told me, I was working, I was doing something, I don't remember, and Julian came in the room and was like, this was before I knew anything about what was going on that day. Julian was like, oh my God, did you hear that they're pulling the movie because of X, Y, and Z? And I was like, no, I haven't been on the internet at all today. I'm just over here in my little cave. You remember that?
Yeah,
and
I do.
the first thing that I said was, or because you said that people had cyber attacked and they were threatening violence. And the first thing that I said was, you know what? I'd rather them pull the fucking movie than people get hurt over fucking Seth Rogen and James Franco. Like, I think the bigger issue is creative expression and our freedom of speech and that sort of thing. But my initial thought was like, well, I mean, come on, guys. Like, we don't want people to actually get hurt.
Yeah, it's a little reckless.
Not that any of the threats are credible.
No, but you never know. All it takes is one real thing to happen, and then suddenly this whole thing becomes really real.
Right. And I don't think that they needed to pull the movie. But I didn't know anything about it at the time, but I think that is a good thought in and of itself, is that, like, you have to decide, if I were a person that was putting this film out, I would want to decide on my own.
Yeah.
Like, is this even worth me? I worked really hard on this, but like, I don't really want other people to be suffering the ramifications of my choices over here for the sake of comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you were making some really breaking documentary, like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, you'd fight for it.
Right. But I think something notable and similar was the Michael Gallagher, when he put out the movie Smiley a few years ago. It was about, the idea was basically that it was, making fun of 4chan or whatever, that they would find you and kill you.
Yeah.
And so he got hacked and they threatened everybody, his family. They were just doing really fucked up things leading up to the movie premiere, where they threatened violence and all kinds of things. And we all went to the movie premiere and just fucking watched the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say that I wasn't like a little bit scared. It was a little bit nervous. It's something
that's intense.
But
that's intense.
I mean, there's an example of someone that gets threats and decides
not to negotiate with the terrorists.
Not to negotiate. Yeah, they're not terrorists.
Well,
it's 4chan.
Yeah. 4chan is the one who hacked and threatened his movie premiere. Then it's not. I mean, come on. It's not some cyber Sony hackers from North Korea, or claiming to be from North Korea, which is what I think it is.
Well, isn't the definition of terrorism that it needs to end in some sort of violence?
Yeah, you're right, I guess.
So I don't think you can call it
terrorist.
But that's why I had a problem with all of these articles being like cyber terrorism.
Because it's like a oxymoron.
Well, as soon as you throw the fucking T word in there, everybody loses their fucking shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not what it is. I think it's a hack, and I think the people got carried away with the Angelina Jolie's
It's more
spoiled
harassment,
brat.
but it's on a, yeah.
It's definitely harassment. It's definitely illegal. It shouldn't be tolerated, but I think that we need to remember that, it's not like we've been invading North Korea for forever.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of conflicts between, not like actual conflicts, but it's not like we're buddies over here between the United States and North Korea, none of which have ended in like this much attention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll be interested to see where we go from
I am
here.
too.
But I don't really feel strongly enough about our ability to make a hysterical movie about North Korea to then turn it into some sort of other thing. Do you know what I mean?
Like what other thing?
I don't know. Like I don't fucking know.
Like escalating.
I don't want it to escalate.
But that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, if people are going to threaten the United States for making films about North Korea in a comedic light, I think maybe we could just chill for a little bit.
Just like, so this happened, right? And I feel like it's being brought to the public eye, but I feel like, it's not 100% taken seriously still. like this whole thing. And like, imagine how fucked up it would be if, God forbid, knock on wood, North Korea like attacks something in the U.S. Like,
I don't think that they have the actual capabilities to. But
okay,
yeah.
I'm just playing complete just what if game right now.
Right.
But imagine the shitstorm in the White House, in the older generation of America who doesn't even understand what a hack is.
Right.
To have that sort of thing happen, like,
I'd be pissed.
well, yeah, you're pissed, but imagine the mind fuck. Like, oh my God, we made a movie. I read something about some computer guys getting into our system, and then boom, like it got real. You're like, you're questioning what you even knew as a grown adult in America. Like and it's not to say that that's going to happen. It's not going to happen. You know, it most likely won't happen, but the fact that it's even a minuscule possibility, or it's even like a relevant thought right now, is a little bit crazy.
And that's what Sony and James Franco and Seth Rogen were thinking, is that God forbid something actually happen. We don't want that. And that's totally understandable. But most people are on the side of the coin that, like, we back down to terrorists.
Yes.
And what does this say about America?
Yeah.
And I read a couple of articles that were likening it carefully to other tragedies where, like, for example, the Boston Marathon bombing, where Boston was shut down afterwards.
Yes.
And that gives terrorists the idea, the like, power. If I, just explode one bomb, an entire city shuts down. Like, what do you think is going to happen if I actually do some real shit?
Yeah, it gives the wrong message.
Right, but that's one school of thought, and the other school of thought is maybe it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. I think I'm in the middle. A lot of people are in the middle, and a lot of people are on either side. Yeah. But I'm just trying to conservatively be like, look, guys. I'm all for freedom of expression, and I don't think that we should back down from terrorists, but I'm not sure that I see Sony not playing the movie as backing down from terrorists. I think I see it as a preventative, extreme measure to make sure that no one ever gets hurt because we wanted to make something funny. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like just a little bit, if that were me making that decision, I would make that call. Yeah.
Well, it's a responsible call. Right, you'd get undoubtedly, you'd get backlash about we don't back down and all this stuff.
I think that they can put it online, and I think people want to see it at this point. Online. Yeah, I think they can put it online, and I think they can do all that, and I think that would make people happy. But I think I would make the same call if I was in that position, because the idea of anybody getting hurt on my watch because I wanted to make some jokes just doesn't sit well with me. Yeah.
No, I mean, you can't. I mean, there are people other than you with different moral compasses than you, but I agree with that. Yeah. And I think that it's just kind of a difficult decision, but you put yourself in it. Right. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I just think that people they want to blame somebody, so they're mad at, the Guardians of Peace or whatever, but they also want to blame Sony for making America look like a bunch of pussies. Yeah. But I think that they need to shift their perspective on that decision.
Yeah, take the egos out of it. Let's just think about...
We're not backing down. I think we're just trying to keep people safe by any means possible.
Yeah, because we didn't really intend for this to happen, and now it's happening. So now we
just how often do you get threats from North Korea for releasing a film? It's not like Sony is well versed in what to do in this particular situation.
No, it seems very foreign, especially the way it's being handled.
Right. Well, I mean...
It's a new weird thing.
I'm pretty sure that there's people that have been working there for like 50 years, like top executives and stuff, like... Never had to deal with this a day in my life. You just got to make a game time call. Yeah. You know?
I don't love, it's just intriguing to see the older people, different generation than the internet generation, deal with the real ramifications of something based completely on the internet. Like, it's just wild to me.
Oh, you mean like the fact that they were emailing each other? I thought what was funny was that these people had these like gossipy, mean-spirited sort of like they're writing everything in an email. I've been hacked many, many times. It is not a fun experience, but it's not like I'm putting fucking, crazy shit in an email. Like I'll maybe text it to somebody, but mostly likely I'll just talk to them when I see them. Yeah. But that's what's crazy about older people when we're talking about. Yeah. They think like, oh, it just goes through the hyperspace, and then no one can ever see it.
They don't have my password. What's this IT guy?
What do you mean we got hacked? But we have like security, don't we? Yeah. But when we were talking about this in the car. that I think Snapchat is really important right now, because Snapchat is sort of cutting edge in the app world in having media that fucking disappears.
Doesn't last forever. It's not an everlasting library. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's not that it can't get hacked, and it's not that it can't, go places other than where you intended it to. People can take, a screenshot, they can send it to their friends, this and that. But the fact of the matter is, once it's gone, it's not lingering around on Snapchat.
Well, and you know what? Another thing is, all it takes is a tweak in their coding, and then you can't take a snapshot. Snapshot. Screenshot. Wow, I just messed. Snip shoot. But another, you're right. Like, Snapchat absolutely, get out of here, Peach, is pioneering that whole non-permanence in social media. Like, nothing has happened like that before Snapchat.
Successfully, we
don't know about. That's why.
Right.
Like, there's probably...
Nothing has happened successfully before Snapchat, is what I'm saying.
Yes, that's on... Yeah, yes. But it's very interesting to think about the fact that they took that risk to do this whole new thing to stand out.
And they didn't get bought out. That kid did not sell out.
Snapchat kid?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know, yeah. And then the fact that it blew up like this, and it's becoming one of the most used social networks in the world.
That kid's got a motherfucking vision.
Absolutely. You know, I think I told you about this. You laughed at it, or you and Brett laughed at it. But I read this thing about this guy. He's an artist, he's a photographer, and he takes pictures from all around the world, and he puts it on his Instagram. And at the end of the year, or at the end of some period of time, he announced that he's going to delete those pictures.
Oh yeah, he did.
Because his reasoning is because art shouldn't last forever. Like, art should be not a permanent thing. It should be temporary. It should be appreciated as such. And it reminded me of Snapchat.
Well, what does he think of the classics and shit?
Like the Mona Lisa? That's not art. Go to his Instagram. That's art. No, but I just think it's funny because that opinion of when something something has a it's ticking away, you look at it differently, you act around it differently, you appreciate it or not appreciate it differently than you would if you knew it was not going anywhere.
That is actually a very profound idea, to treat art like you treat life. Like, it's not always going to be there. And by just looking at it and then always expecting it to be there is taking it for granted.
It is taking it for granted, and you look at it differently.
That's really beautiful.
Well, I think this guy, I commend him. I mean, it's I'm sure he has hundreds of thousands of followers on the Instagram, which is why it's a big deal.
Everybody make sure we go to his Instagram and take
I think it's over.
of all of his art.
I think it's gone. No, he installed the Snapchat bug in his Instagram, so you can't screenshot his picture. I'm just kidding. What?
I'm pretty sure when you told me that the other night, my first reaction was, is he one of those people, like a Native American, that believe that, or not, is it Native American?
That believe what?
That when you take a picture, it takes a part of your soul.
Oh, I don't know if that's Native American. I don't know what that is.
Because I'd like to know what they think about videos.
I don't think that's his motive at all. I think when I read...
I know. But do you see the connection that I'm making?
Yeah, it's a similar kind of idea.
Yeah.
It takes a picture of your soul.
Because if taking a picture or a video took away a part of your soul, there are many 13-year-olds that would not be able to get into the front doors of 7-Eleven because they don't open up if you don't have a soul.
Oh my God.
Like that Simpsons episode when Bart sells his soul and then the Quickie Mart won't open up for him.
Yeah, no, the entire generation wouldn't have a soul.
I mean,
we would be all gingers.
I don't actually believe in that idea, but I think that idea is really... First of all, the guy that believes in the art needing to not last forever is beautiful. I thought that was funny at first, but that's actually a really fucking...
I want to look at his Instagram.
But what do you think about the idea that a picture or a video, like some capture of you in a moment, takes a part of your soul? Because I think that that's really fucking interesting. Because just think about it this way, okay?
Yep.
Think about how much more vain it makes you when you see yourself in the form of a picture or a video.
Well, if you're comparing the vanity that's growing inside of you from looking at what it was just documented as diminishing what you have as your soul, then yeah, that math adds up. That math adds up. Like, you say it takes a part of your soul. Well, does that mean that vanity is chipping away your soul?
Yeah.
It's a fair thought. I mean, it is. It really...
Well, think about it in terms of, like, vanity, gluttony, sloth, like the 7 deadly sins or whatever. I think that that idea that when you're recording yourself and taking pictures of yourself, like maybe you're just chipping away so much of your soul in terms of vanity that you're just losing your mind. Think about how many fucking actors and actresses are out of their fucking mind.
Yeah. You know what? It's not a far out thought to think about how much seeing yourself like that really messes you up in the head.
Well, think about some of the people that we've met that do like what we do, that have almost lost their sense of reality.
Like no sense of reality. Because of, I guess, you know, a lot of them are just so, I see myself everywhere. I'm loved. I'm adored. Look at my face.
Right.
I'm not a person anymore.
I'm not a person anymore.
It's very interesting, that thought. And honestly, Xbox, no one's talking. I remember when I was younger, and my dad, who now works in the internet space, he works, you know, in the YouTube, I guess you could say, business, or the internet business, whatever. He would nonstop, like, take pictures, take videos of us when we were kids doing things. Xbox, cancel. Thank you. And I was always like so frustrated by it. I didn't know why. I just felt like and my mom too a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to enjoy what we were doing. And I was a kid, and you know, even as a teenager or whatever, I would just be like, stop, just put it away. We're here, we're having fun. And now I make YouTube videos all the time. I'm in your videos, I'm on Instagram, you know. He's like, it's just wild to think about how that switches, but your natural non social media impaired instinct is to just be. And when you become so saturated with seeing yourself, it absolutely, you know, it doesn't make you vain per se. It doesn't like, oh, now you're vain because you see yourself every day. It's a, you know, it makes it easier to become that way,
right.
Which is why so many people who...
Well, yeah, I think I tweeted or something a couple weeks ago that I find it difficult constantly to update everything that I have: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, fucking Vine, YouTube. And I think I tweeted something along the lines of, it takes a certain level of vanity to post a selfie every day that I just don't have. And I just don't have it. I don't have the ability to turn a camera around to myself and take a picture of myself and then post it every single day. It's just something foreign, because I think that, you know, when I was growing up, there's no such fucking thing.
There's
when
no
I was
such thing as that.
Teenager, you know, we could get on the computer or whatever, but you're not really conditioned to be me-centered. You're conditioned to be like, listen, child, here's your place in the world. Now go do the motherfucking dishes.
And you know what? Like,
not that kids these days aren't, though. I don't think.
No,
but
and
they have a bigger inflated sense of self.
It's just weird to think about, because as much as we grew up with some technology, the kids who are growing up now with iPhones in their hands from day one, they're being taught a different normal. Like, a normal day is waking up, checking all your social, doing something, checking all your social, doing something else, checking, you know what I mean? You're nonstop doing it, which is the world that is everyone's world today. So we take part in that,
right?
Or, you know, most of the time we take part of that. But as a kid, when you're developing and you're learning how to be a person, and you're learning what's good, what's bad, what's moral, what's immoral, and that is just constantly there, it's not even their fault. It's just kind of how their compass is being shaped. Like, they are becoming kids or people who think that that's...
But I mean, it doesn't... I'm not sold that it's necessarily a bad thing.
It's not. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that's the difference.
Different,
yeah, it's very different. Yeah.
For sure. But I also think that it's interesting that something like Snapchat exists, because I'm, you know, a relatively social media savvy person.
Yeah.
And I, for the life of me, could not understand why the fuck you would want to do something and then have it disappear.
I know.
And then
We tried it.
No. I used it for a while to keep in touch with one of my friends. So I got the premise of it. You know what I mean? But
same here.
Once I opened it up to everybody, I was like, oh, this is pretty fucking fun.
It's pretty fun.
And then you check everybody's little fucking story. It's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun because you, like, as... You know, you're going to treat that guy's Instagram differently. You treat Snapchat differently than your social media.
You get very excited because you know you got, you know, fucking 7 seconds to see that bitch, and then it's gone forever.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I mean, the psychology of, like, how you treat.
But I think, yeah, that's where technology is moving. It's moving in the direction of
non-permanence.
Snapchat. Like, you know, hopefully we're going to be moving towards Gmail, please, like... These aren't going to get saved. We have an option to send things and where they
disappear.
just, as soon as this person reads this, that motherfucker's gone.
Like, they have half lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or, all these text messages and whatever. The government, and I'm sure police officers and people that work in crimes, they do not want that technology to exist because it assists them in doing a lot of good work.
Absolutely.
But fucking...
Wow, it's so weird to think about.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Like, imagine if, 20 years from now, nothing had permanence on the internet. Like, your email, like you said, it would disappear in a day. No matter what. No coding, no hackers could get it. Like, it was gone. Mm-hmm. How we would treat things. Mm-hmm. And we would just be, imagine if we were just content in living in a world that there was no permanence on the internet. Mm-hmm. It's just wild to think about.
Well, I think Beyonce would be really happy because she'd finally get those Super Bowl pictures off.
Finally. Same with Bieber and those pictures that his people ask for.
I want those pictures of me off the internet. Beyonce, that's not how the internet works. Bitch, get your shit together.
Ask Kim
Bitch,
Kardashian.
Didn't you just make a whole fucking video
ask
on your
Kim Kardashian
GoPro?
how the internet works. She knows how the internet works.
Ooh, it's a weird burn. Yeah, no, I think that there's pros and cons to it, but I mean, out of necessity and out of, the transformation of the internet that's always growing and changing to suit our needs and wants. Yeah. I think the trend in technology will continue to be mobile and will continue to be it's not going to be there forever. Yeah. Because there's plenty of people that are so frustrated and angry. Like when I used to work at the blog, people would write into him all the time, like, take this down, take it fucking down. And on websites all over the place, can you please take this embarrassing pictures of me off the internet, or like get rid of that post? It's so nasty. It's not true. And then, someone refuses to take it down. 5 years later, whether or not the person's still even running that website, that stuff's still on there.
Somewhere.
And
it's up there somewhere.
You can't get rid of it. There's plenty of people that can't get jobs, or, a Google search of their name would require them to do a lot of explaining in order to be taken seriously in a place where they want to work. Yeah. Which is frustrating and sad and annoying that it doesn't go away right now, because there's a lot of people that don't deserve that, Yeah. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to it, but I think it would be beneficial to at least have options like Snapchat where we could communicate without having there be ramifications of people hacking into that and looking into it and anything like that, just for general sake of privacy. Well, because we know that the fucking anybody that gets, a warrant or whatever, if you were to be doing something sketchy, the police could get your phone records and all of that. Yeah. Like, fuck that.
And honestly, if this,
unless you're
it's not
killing people and shit.
It's not going to be one decision. No president or whoever is going to wake up one day and be like, no more permanence on the internet. No, it's going to be a slow process if that happens, because
nobody can wake up and say no more permanence on the internet.
Well, no.
The technology needs to
change. The technology, but I'm saying, like, it's a slow process in terms of, like, people getting on board with it, if they even do agree.
That's what I'm saying. It would be an option. Yes. So you would open your Gmail. Gmail exists like always, because for a lot of people, I want to maybe search something in my Gmail. Yeah. But if you wanted to send something,
it's an optional
like a password
feature.
Or something confidential, a phone number, you could have an option, like open up a little box. This disappears after 10 seconds after this person reads it. Yeah. I'm saying people want an option. Yeah. I think the technology will shift so that they have an option. Yeah. But to change to just total, like, nothing is ever saved is not going to be anytime soon.
No, I'm not saying that. I wasn't saying that.
Right, you were saying slow, but we were agreeing.
But just, exactly. And also, like, even in 25 years, the feature gets introduced to Gmail. Do you want your emails to disappear after a day and be gone forever? What's to stop someone from pulling out their iPhone, reading an email, taking a picture of that iPhone? Like, the technology really has to be able to, like, scramble that via the screen, like, megapixels. You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Right, but that's a technicality of the idea. Anybody could just hear me out. Anybody at the present moment can take a picture of a Snapchat or a video. But that's not the idea that we're talking about.
Yeah, I get it.
The idea that we're talking about is the ability for it to be terminated and not lingering around in some Snapchat archives. It's gone.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right. No, you're right. There's nothing to stop people from recording things on their own.
Correct.
You're right. No, that makes sense. I'm just, like, getting caught up in the technicalities of this. But
I just think it would be interesting if we currently had that technology. Would the Guardians of, just to bring this full circle, would the Guardians of Peace still be able to accomplish what they did?
Yeah. It's wild. I don't know.
I'm not sure that they would. They would have no email hacks, you know?
Yeah. There wouldn't. No, there wouldn't. Yeah, a lot of people I read in Sony, like you said, had fucking fucked up emails everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's why they're like, oh, take it down. You know what I mean? Like, they're obeying the hack because there's so much that they're hiding. It's really interesting to think about when something like that is introduced, that nothing has permanence, what the behavior of those people are going to be like. Mm-hmm. You know, like, are they going to be relieved? Are they going to be more reckless? Like,
well, it's like when you trust your kid to go hang out upstairs in their room with their boyfriend for the first time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I remember when I was, this is a weird analogy, but I remember when I was a teenager or whatever, and my mom was like, you guys need to have the fucking door open. Like, you can't even go upstairs. Like, you can't even be in a room with the door closed.
Yeah.
And then as that trust grew, and it would be like, all right, yeah, you guys go do whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we really weren't fucking doing anything bad.
Yeah.
But it's a toss-up, you know? You kind of have to just see how people are, because I think there's plenty of people that would use that for something that's fun and good and exciting and awesome. Well, but of course you're going to have people that are using it to do fucked up shit.
For every good person, there's a bad person. It's just, that's how.
You gotta treat the whole thing like you're just about to go let your teenage daughter go fucking hang out with her boyfriend for the first time.
Yeah.
She could get pregnant, or she could just be playing fucking dominoes in there. We don't know. You gotta trust her.
That's true.
That's how we need to be treated as a country, I assume.
It's a great analogy.
We could get pregnant, or we could just be playing fucking dominoes.
So you gonna play dominoes?
So we gonna play dominoes or not?
My mom just got me this brand new dominoes set. It's definitely an interesting topic. I love talking about stuff like that because it really, like, in situations like we're in now, it makes it real and it's fun to talk about.
Yeah. Have you ever been hacked?
No. I don't think I've ever been personally hacked.
Awful.
I mean, I think, well, everyone gets this where they're like, they wake up and someone's like, yo, check your email. You sent out a fucking spam email today.
Yeah.
Like, that's not really hacked. That's just whatever.
No.
But no, I've never been hacked. The whole idea is very frightening. But
I've been hacked. My mobile me has been hacked.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Like, basically everything's in your fucking mobile me.
Yeah, fucking mobile.
And my Facebook got hacked.
Yeah.
And it's really invasive. But what made me... I never got my mobile me back, which no one gives a shit about at this point. But what made me really happy was the first time I got hacked was right after I had my How to Trick People into Thinking You're Good Looking video. Okay. So the idea of that was just never in the realm of anything I should ever be worried about. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then one day I just couldn't log in. I couldn't retrieve my password. Like, all my security questions had changed.
Yeah.
Everything had changed. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I think I'm almost positive I went on like Twitter or some other social media that I had at the time, and I was like, hey, can you give me my fucking Facebook back? Like, it's been real and congratulations, but like, come on, dude, can I have it back? And they gave it back to me.
Oh my god,
isn't that awesome?
It's just crazy.
Like, I think somebody just wanted to get in there and fucking dig around and then be like, yeah, I did it. And then, you know, well, that was fun. They just gave it back, which I really appreciated.
That's wild, man.
But it's
good for you for asking nicely.
It feels very invasive. Do you know what I mean? It sucks, and it's not right.
It sounds like a miserable experience. God, you start to worry. You're like, oh my god, what's on there? Fuck.
Well, yeah, that's what everyone thinks, and most people aren't doing weird, disgusting, shady things. But like, everyone's always like, oh my god, what's in there? Like, I don't want everyone to see my stuff because it's just a level of privacy that's yours. You know?
Yes.
I don't want people all up in my fucking business, man.
I don't either. Get the fuck out.
Well, so I can't imagine how these people at Sony felt because, you know, you get hacked and some guy looks at fucking pictures of you or whatever.
But it's
and
Sony
that's about it. Sony gets hacked and it's fucking news.
Shit hits the fan.
News? Question mark? Angelina Jolie's a brat and that's news? Question mark? I mean... Part of the problem is us as consumers of media.
Yeah,
that propel that as newsworthy.
Yeah, we make these things and then. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's an interesting topic. If you guys have any thoughts on the Sony hack, obviously, let us know because we love reading what we missed and. Yeah,
and I do know that my opinion on, pulling the movie I would probably do that too. I know that opinion is not popular at the present moment. And
unpopular opinion puffin.
And I want you to understand when I say that if I were in Sony's shoes, I would pull it, but I wouldn't want it to. The point of that, by saying that, is that I wouldn't perceive it as backing down to terrorism. I would perceive it as
taking a safety measure.
I don't ever want to harm someone else because I wanted to make a joke.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is smart. I feel like that's the right call. Even though I'm not going to agree with any decisions made leading up to this point because it's just so weird to me.
It was fucking weird. The whole thing is weird. The whole fucking
thing is weird.
Like North Korea, what are you guys doing over there?
And like it's
throwing
not worth
logs into your cars and
it's
driving around.
Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. A million billion people want to see that movie now that they can't, of course, because that's how you work. You want what you can't have, but I'm sorry.
I'm not even sure I really want to see it.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I watched that trailer and I'm like, okay, enough. I don't want to see it. It's not funny. It's not worth it. When I knew it was going to be them two in the trailer, I kind of knew what I was going to expect from the movie, but it still could have been great. Like, it could have looked great. No, it looked just whatever. I'll take it or leave it. The jokes that they had in the trailer, I was like, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, like, hey guys, I have this really hysterical movie idea. It's about abortion. And it's super funny and awesome, and like the girl gets raped, but it's hysterical, and like I can't wait to make it. You guys want to fund it? And then someone's like, "Yeah, dude, fucking okay, freedom of speech. You make what you want to make, Jenna." And then all of a sudden people
don't put your name on that.
All of a sudden people are angry, and I'm like, "Wait, whoa, I'm just trying to make joke over here. You gotta decide whether or not it's worth it."
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it, people. It's not worth it.
Plus, I respect Seth Rogen and James Franco, and I like them very much. But hasn't this movie already been made better than they were ever going to make it in Team America?
Like, what are you doing? There's so little to gain here.
It's not a particularly original idea in the first place, so fucking why?
If you guys are just like genuinely jacked up to see this movie, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, anyway. Please chime in with your thoughts.
Yeah, chime in the comments. We'll read your comments. We love reading the comments. And, yeah, it was an interesting conversation tonight. I like this one.
Yeah.
Hopefully nothing happens from the Sony hack. Hopefully we can all just kind of move along with our lives and Sony can take a little hit.
Yeah, and also please, if you're listening and commenting, be respectful of each other and don't take anything too seriously, because this,
that's a good point.
For the present moment, all that affects us personally is that we can't see a movie.
That's true.
Put
it in perspective.
The larger ramifications are on our freedom of speech and creative expression, etc., etc.
Yeah. And think about what you got and what you could not have. Yeah. But thank you guys for watching and listening and joining us tonight. Mm-hmm. We will be back next week. I hope you guys are having a great holiday. I hope you're with your loved ones.
Yeah, loved ones.
You will be watching this right before Christmas. Right before Christmas. And then we'll be back next week before New Year's. So, double holiday podcast. Love you guys, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye. Bye, Wichago. Abara Wichago.